The 1970s and 80s were the golden decades of stardom. Neon lights, velvet nights, and the unstoppable rise of icons. But behind the glamour, there were whispers of something else. Strange coincidences, cryptic lyrics, sudden deaths. People began to wonder, was Hollywood just chasing dreams or dancing with darkness? It was an era when fame didn't just crown you, it consumed you. The tabloids called them stars. The fans called them legends. But some say they were sacrifices of the system itself. Tonight, we uncover 8 stories from that haunted era, where art, obsession, and mystery blurred the line between creation and curse. Stay till the end, because the last story might make you believe that the Hollywood curse was never just a rumor. David Bowie wasn't just a rock star, he was a chameleon from another world. With his alien alter ego, Ziggy Stardust, Bowie blurred gender, identity, and reality. But it wasn't just his image that scared people, it was what he said. He spoke about receiving visions, summoning creative spirits, and feeling possessed by his characters. Bowie claimed that his songs came to him in dreams, sometimes so vividly, he'd wake up trembling. In the 1970s, rumors exploded. Was Bowie channeling something beyond himself? He later admitted keeping books on the occult and tarot in his Los Angeles home. One biographer even wrote that Bowie once tried to exorcise his own swimming pool, convinced it was haunted. To some, he was a genius. To others, he had seen too much. When he finally shed his Ziggy persona, he said it almost killed him. Maybe it wasn't just art. Maybe he really had fallen to earth and barely made it back. 2. Stevie Nicks, the White Witch of Rock. In the late 1970s, Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac was called many things: muse, sorceress, and the White Witch of Rock. Her flowing gowns, haunting lyrics, and mysterious aura fed endless speculation. Was it all performance or prophecy? Nicks admitted she was fascinated by mysticism. She wore black lace and carried crystals. She spoke of spirits guiding her music. Her 1983 hit, Stand Back, came to her in a single, lightning-like moment. She claimed she heard the song before she wrote it. Fans loved it, but rumors grew darker. Some said her ethereal persona wasn't just branding, it was binding. Tabloids accused her of witchcraft, though she always denied it, laughing it off as superstition. Yet, even today, when she walks on stage with smoke swirling around her and the moonlight catching her shawl, it feels enchanted. Stevie Nicks may not be a witch, but she certainly cast a spell on an entire generation. 3. Prince, the Purple Prophecy. Prince wasn't just a musician, he was a phenomenon. His 1980s performances were charged with something beyond energy, something spiritual, sensual, and strange. He spoke in riddles, wrote symbols instead of words, and one day, he even changed his name to an unpronounceable sign. Some said it was rebellion, others whispered it was revelation. Prince filled his lyrics with references to angels, demons, prophecy, and divine messages. He once said he felt guided by a higher presence when composing. But when he began speaking out about controlling forces in the industry, things got darker. He accused record labels of owning souls, of stealing more than just music. His death in 2016 reignited the old rumors. Had Prince discovered something he shouldn't have? Whether you see him as visionary or victim, one thing's undeniable. Prince's art was always more than human. It was otherworldly. 4. Sharon Tate, the Beauty Before the Storm. Sharon Tate's story is one of Hollywood's greatest tragedies, and its most chilling mysteries. In 1969, before the 70s began, her brutal murder by followers of Charles Manson shocked the world. But what came out afterward made the story even stranger. Months before her death, Tate told friends she had recurring nightmares of being killed by intruders in her home. Some even claimed she saw blood on the walls in her dreams, a haunting premonition that later became reality. She moved in circles filled with artists, mystics, and spiritualists, a scene that often dabbled in the occult under the guise of creative experimentation. Was it coincidence or something more sinister? After her death, Manson's ramblings about sacrifices and rituals only fueled speculation that Hollywood's rising beauty was caught in forces far beyond her control. Sharon Tate remains the face of innocence lost, and perhaps a warning written in blood before fame turned fatal. 5. John Lennon, the man who challenged the system. John Lennon was more than a Beatle. By the 1970s, he had become a symbol of peace, rebellion, and dangerous truth-telling. But with fame came paranoia, and Lennon often spoke of being watched. He immersed himself in spirituality, studying numerology and mystic philosophies. But what really unsettled him were his visions. Lennon once told friends he had seen entities of light in his New York apartment. He was deeply vocal about power, politics, and control, speaking out against war and corruption. Then, suddenly, in December 1980, he was gunned down outside his home. To some, it was random madness. To others, a ritualistic silencing of a man who had seen too much. Lennon's final album cover, showing him in a Christ-like pose, only deepened the myth. Was he a prophet or a pawn of fate? The line between peace and prophecy blurred, and Lennon became both martyr and mystery. Michael Jackson, the Cursed Crown. No star shined brighter than Michael Jackson, and none fell harder. From child prodigy to global phenomenon, Jackson's life seemed almost supernatural. He spoke of his spirit of creation, often referring to it as a voice that guided him. But as his fame reached divine heights, his world turned darker. Isolation, obsession, and controversy surrounded him. His music videos became cinematic rituals, filled with resurrection, mirrors, and transformation. Critics called Thriller a masterpiece. Others called it a warning. The red eyes, the full moon, the transformation, symbolic, perhaps, of what fame does to a person. As the 1980s ended, Jackson began changing. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. Was he chasing perfection or escaping something? Even in his final interviews, he spoke softly about innocence, purity, and pain, as though he had seen the true cost of glory. For some, he was the king of pop. For others, the lamb that fame devoured. 7. Jack Nicholson, the devil you know. Few actors embodied chaos like Jack Nicholson. His grin, his eyes, his voice, he seemed born to play madness. But it was his role in The Shining, 1980, that forever linked him to something eerie. Nicholson threw himself into the role of Jack Torrance, a man driven insane by isolation and supernatural forces. Crew members claimed Nicholson's intensity was unsettling. He stayed in character between takes, muttering lines under his breath. But the coincidences went deeper. The Shining set was plagued by accidents, strange noises, and unexplained malfunctions. Even director Stanley Kubrick spoke of forces surrounding the production. Afterward, Nicholson's reputation grew, part genius, part devilish trickster. He later joked, "The devil is just one of my many roles." But behind the smirk, fans sensed something else. An actor who didn't just pretend to face the abyss, but looked right into it. 8. Robin Williams, the light that fought the darkness. Robin Williams brought laughter to millions, yet carried a shadow deeper than anyone knew. His brilliance was unmatched, his energy almost supernatural. But even his closest friends said his mind moved like lightning through a storm. In the 1980s, he became a megastar, but behind the comedy, he battled loneliness and despair. He often joked that the characters he played took a piece of him. It wasn't just a metaphor. In interviews, he spoke of feeling haunted by his roles, and sometimes not recognizing the man in the mirror. As years passed, his mental health struggles deepened, until the light that brought joy to millions flickered out too soon. Robin's tragedy reminds us that not all darkness is external. Sometimes, the demons aren't in the industry, they're inside us, and they demand their own kind of sacrifice. When we look at the 70s and 80s, from music to film, a haunting pattern emerges. Stars drawn to mysticism, sudden tragedies, obsession with light and dark. It was the age of rebellion and revelation. Drugs, fame, and power collided with art and spirituality. Everyone wanted to find themselves, but many got lost instead. Whether it was through occult symbolism, hidden societies, or simply the madness of fame, that era birthed legends and ghosts. Perhaps it wasn't Satan they were bargaining with, but the very idea of immortality. Because in Hollywood, being forgotten is the only real death. The myth of the Hollywood curse. The so-called Hollywood curse isn't about black candles or forbidden rituals. It's about the endless hunger for fame, a hunger that consumes the human soul. The stars of the 70s and 80s gave the world everything: their talent, beauty, and sanity. The public took it all, applauding while they crumbled inside. The cameras captured their smiles, but never their screams. Maybe that's the real curse. The deal every performer makes when they step into the spotlight. To shine brighter than everyone else, even if it means burning faster. When art becomes ritual, music, acting, fashion, every performance in that era felt like a ceremony. Every concert a confession, every film a mirror of hidden fears. These stars weren't conducting rituals, they were the ritual. Fame demanded their identity. Art demanded their truth. And when both collided, something broke. The performances that made them immortal also became their undoing. Hollywood didn't need the devil. It created its own. And it wore sequins, sang ballads, and smiled for the camera. The shadows that never left. From Bowie's cosmic visions to Nick's ethereal whispers, from Lennon's light to Jackson's fall, the 1970s and 80s were more than decades of music and movies. They were decades of metamorphosis. These stars weren't damned by rituals. They were consumed by the paradox of fame itself. To be loved by millions yet never known. To give your soul to art and wonder if it will ever give it back. Hollywood's lights still shine. But if you listen closely, behind the applause, you can almost hear the whispers of those who gave everything for the dream. And maybe, just maybe, their stories are the real warning. If this journey through the forgotten shadows of 1970s and 1980s Hollywood intrigued you, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because next time on Scandalwood, we'll explore the 7 haunted films that cursed everyone who made them. Until then, keep your lights low, your records spinning, and remember, in Hollywood, every star shines, but not all stars survive the darkness.